Happy week start and thanks for joining us. You're watching the news in Africa and the world. The essentials in Africa tells us that Madagascar's capital, Antananarivo, has returned to confinement after 2 months of easing COVID-19 restriction measures and even the reopening of schools. Authorities have again restricted movement in the Malagasy capital due to the spike in coronavirus cases. Used to recording dozen cases of the virus per day, the health authority has reported hundreds of cases daily for the past 3 days, including 216 on Saturday, a record for the country. So far, a total of 1,621 people are currently living with the virus, though 23,000 were tested positive at the beginning of the pandemic. The measure is set to continue to July 20 with strict conditions recommending one person per household to go out on the street from 6 a.m. to noon. For now, it's extended to 5 p.m. Ghana's President Akufo-Addo has gone into self-isolation for 2 weeks as a precautionary measure, despite testing negative for the coronavirus, government said after coming in contact to someone who tested positive for the illness. The president began his quarantine over the weekend and will be working from the president's villa in Accra, the information minister said in a statement, according with protocols of COVID-19. The West African country has, as of this report, recorded more than 19,300 cases of new respiratory disease and 117 deaths. It has lifted its lockdown measures, although social distancing remains in place since the pandemic erupted. A number of senior political figures worldwide have caught the disease, the most recent being Senegal's President Macky Sall, who also went into quarantine last month despite testing negative after coming in contact with a coronavirus case. In Benin, more than 200,000 CMD pupils, that is Class 6, sat in for the first school leaving certificate exam today. National exams and competitions for the year 2019-2020 have been organized after being hindered by the global pandemic. The BPC exam, equivalent to GCE O-level, is scheduled for July 13. Meanwhile, Baccalaureate, that is GCE A-level, will begin on June 20. According to the examination board, all measures have been put in place to ensure pupils and students are void of COVID-19. That includes one candidate per bench, hand washing kits and gel supplied in sufficient quantity. The wearing of masks is mandatory as the government has distributed it to the students last May. Nothing has changed in the content of the exam, written, oral and sports for all. Taking you out of Africa, let us go to France, where Marseille became the latest French municipality to elect a green mayor on Saturday in a wave that has swept the six local elections at the end of last month. Michelle Rubirola, the first female leader of France's second city, won the most votes from city councillors, ending almost a week of suspense after the June 28 poll, which failed to give her a green left coalition an absolute majority. Rubirola will succeed Mayor Jean-Claude Godin, who made the city a conservative stronghold in his 25 years in office. Rubirola pledged to clean the Mediterranean port city, which has suffered from pollution, municipal strikes and traffic congestion, but has also been ridden by gang violence, corruption and poverty. Croatia on Sunday held the parliamentary election amid the second coronavirus wave and with no clear winner in sight. The country's current conservative government initially handled the pandemic relatively successfully and has appealed to voters for continued support, but polls suggested a liberal coalition has a slight lead over the ruling Croatian Democratic Union. If predictions are proved right and no party gains a majority of seats, a coalition government will have to be formed. The governing Croatian Union, or the HDZ, has dominated the political scene since steering Croatia to independence in 1991 from the former Yugoslavia, and though the war that followed, the alliance has urged voters to choose a new beginning as opposed to the ruling party's message of choosing a safe bet. The border between Australia's two most populous states has closed after a spike of COVID-19 cases in the southern city of Melbourne. The decision, announced this Monday, marks the first time the border between Victoria and New South Wales has been shut in 100 years. Officials last blocked movement between the two states in 1919 during the Spanish flu pandemic. The move will be a blow to Australia's economic recovery as it heads into its first recession in nearly 3 decades. The number of COVID-19 cases, 127 new infections overnight in the Victorian capital Melbourne, has prompted authorities to enforce stricter social distancing orders in 30 suburbs and put 9 public housing towers into complete lockdown. And rescue workers in Japan on Monday disentangled through the wreckage of houses shattered by deadly floods and landslides in a desperate search for survivors as the death toll rose and more torrential rain loomed. A number of 36 people have feared death after record rains lashed areas of western Japan in the early hours of Saturday, causing rivers to break banks and flooding low-lying regions. Evacuation efforts are being hampered by fears of spreading the coronavirus. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said on Sunday that more than 40,000 personnel from police and fire departments, the Coast Guard, will conduct search and rescue operations throughout the night. Heavy rain is expected to continue through Tuesday afternoon, and the Japan Meteorological Agency issued a non-compulsory evacuation order for hundreds of thousands of residents in some prefectures. Thanks for watching, and do so again if you can. Until we meet, do take care and stay safe.